Tarsier have just dropped their brand new trailer for Reanimal, and my god, there is so much information and so much story in this. We have to dissect it frame by frame. Hello everyone, welcome your faces to the channel. If you're new here or are a fan of Little Nightmares, you might already know my content. I cover Little Nightmares extensively, and of course that includes Tarsier's games as well. And now we have Reanimal. I'm going to be covering that in the future as well, so if that does sound like something you might want to keep up to date with and enjoy, make sure you hit subscribe because I will be covering it like mad. So today we are going to be talking about the breakdown and the trailer and what we see in it and what it could mean. I also have a video coming out after this one talking about Reanimal's story because I feel like I might have already had a good idea of what's going on. So, without further ado, let's get into this video. Let's break down that trailer. Let's talk about all the interesting parts. And let's start it around 13 seconds when we see the Itsjustjord logo. And now, instantly, we get a voice coming over, the voiceover, of course, that says, "Nothing lasts forever." And of course, I believe this is the sister of the orphan children or the orphan siblings coming through, talking to, of course, the brother or one of the friends. And then we get a snapshot or like the clip of the city and its broken, ruined mess. And we see the children, the two children on the boat approaching it again, coming back to save the friends. Now, I think this city, as we can see, is absolutely torn to shreds. The elements have had at it. The monsters within the city have ripped it to shreds, and the children cannot approach it like this. So as we see later on, they have to climb up the ladder, and of course that's where we leave it, because in the shot after this we see them climbing up a very tall ladder, and of course she's holding on to a lantern at this point, so they might come across a lantern very early on, or it might be one of the options they choose to take with them, or items they choose to take with them, sorry. And then, of course, we see the sheep deforming and changing into an animal that is not quite of this world. But we will talk about that a little bit more in the video because there are more highlights of this sort of scenario happening. But then, of course, after that shot, we get to see the two siblings look down a well. Now, whether they climbed up this well from where they came from the cliffside, I don't know. Or they possibly might go and hide in here. But it's an interesting shot and it looks quite sinister. And then, of course, we have a panned shot where they show a zoom in on all five of the children together, looking up at a structure far in the distance. Now, of course, we know the city is burnt down or broken or, you know, just absolutely twisted by whatever's going on in this world. I believe this is where they plan their escape, or when they're trying to escape out of the world of Reanimal. And this is, of course, them taking that final step, and we get to see them all together before disaster strikes. After that scene, we see them all on the boat. Now, we know the way they're dressed and the way they're presented is a tie-in to how their stories are linked with that appearance. So, interestingly enough, they all have some sort of mask on or some bag type thing covering their face. Now, that must be for a reason, but of course, we'll find out more as we go into Reanimal. But like I said earlier, I believe this is the part where it's all going to go south, and this is where they're all going to separate, and this is where they're all going to get lost, and this is where I believe the game will start. And then in the next shot, we see a shot of the cinema. Now, there seems to be a humanoid creature carrying another humanoid-like creature into the cinema. Now, the creature that it's carrying looks to be dead, so that we know this creature is going to be hostile and trying to survive off the food of this animal or creature, whatever, or human, whatever he's dragging inside. And we can see the children and the siblings are taking extra precaution around this one. They must know of its existence prior to this part of the game and must know it's a hostile. So we're in for a treat, I believe. And then, of course, we get a big shot of this open room just filled with beds and a horrible, monstrous creature coming through. And I believe this will link up later in the video where we see a creature climbing up another wall. I believe they are the same thing, and they are just absolute monstrous beasts that are just full of hair and arms, and it looks to be creatures and faces within them. So it's possible that whoever they consume becomes one with them. Interestingly enough, I think the room that we're looking at the moment is something to do with the orphanage. I feel like that's why there's so many beds in here. And then, of course, after that scene, we get to see the two friends or brothers or sister stood in a pipe with the lantern again, looking for a way to escape or progress. It looks like they're progressing to find their friends. And then, of course, after that one, we're shown them walking up the beach or the shore from when they got off the boat. And I imagine this is going to be like a little puzzle at the start of the game where they have to climb up the cliff and, you know, do the A to B point deal. And then, of course, we see a young child sat in a bed looking to be having a nightmare. Now, I say this because, of course, the voiceovers that we hear in this game, for instance, we'll hear in a minute where it says wake up and things, I think are directly talking in this scene. I think this is going to be the sister trying to wake up the brother, or vice versa, or something along that line, or one of the orphan children. And of course we see the sheep merged with a monster I don't even know, or an animal, and it seems to be a very big emphasis on farm animals, and it looks to be that's where they're sort of taking this story. And I do believe that, of course, like I mentioned earlier, the voices will link up to this part of the scene and they will wake up this child. And then, of course, we get a very dark scene next where we can't see much, but we seem to be able to make out the shape of a somewhat spider monster-like creature knocking down a wall. Again, it's a shame we can't see much, but I imagine they're hiding this creature for a good reason. And then, of course, we see the children running down the hall trying to escape something. It looking very similar to like a farmhouse part of the level. Again, it's an all wooden level, so I do wonder if it's like a real big emphasis on farm animals in the setting for that. And then, of course, we see the children trying to sneak past a pig. Now, I do wonder if this is going to be the pig from earlier on the teaser where they said they're coming. I don't know if the size is going to match, but it's a good indication that possibly pigs are used for a little bit more than just, you know, normal day-to-day. It seems that this pig is somewhat maybe docile and watching and observing the children rather than just straight out attacking them like we'll see in a minute with some other entities in the world of the Reanimal world. And then, of course, we see the two children on the boat fighting through the sea of bodies, no pun intended, lying there on the surface. And of course, behind them we see an arm reaching out. Now, I wonder if this is going to be like a weird take on a kraken in the world of Reanimal, and they're going to attack the boat as they try to come ashore and deter them with all these bodies, or if these bodies just got caught in the crossfire. Interestingly, though, it looks like actually one of the siblings, the girl in the boat, is using some type of weapon to fend off the bodies. Now, I don't know if it's just to move them or to stop them attacking or deterring them from attacking. And then after this, we see what seems to be a man riding a bike with an upside down face. Now, interestingly, the way that the character is designed and portrayed, I either want to say it's some kind of circus worker or it's a type of butler that has been twisted and deformed. But just the way it sort of chases them and the way the face looks, I just don't see it being something to do with like a circus. I don't see any face paint. I don't see anything like that. Possibly it is a type of butler that got caught in the crossfire of the Reanimal world. And in the next scene, like I mentioned earlier, we get to see that big mole-like creature with lots of arms and bodies, a part of that creature with faces, and they look like they're screaming out, appear in the scene. And again, this looks very similar to the one that we saw in the orphan children's room, trying to look for the children. And again, this design is just absolutely impeccable. It's brilliant. It's scary. There's so much going on there. It's actually petrifying. And then, of course, we see them running across a bridge. Now, there's not enough information on this one to go off, so, of course, we'll leave it as that. It's just running across the bridge. And then after that, we can see the children running from the creatures within inside this, like, storage room area. And as you can see, there's suitcases on the shelves. And out of them come these snake-like human creatures. And, again, I wonder if this is a play on, like, how people treat snakes and how they breed them, keep them in boxes until, you know, they're needed. And then sometimes they might slither out. And I feel like that's what's happening here. And then after this, we get to see another monster in the form of using the water, similar to how we saw earlier with the arm reaching out. I believe what we're looking at here is the actual monster for that particular scene. And again, they covered up the face really well, so we can't actually make any details out. But of course, we can tell it's of aquatic life, so things like sharks or anything sort of in that sort of category. I know mermaids aren't real, but I feel like that's what they're sort of going for. And then after this, we seem to see a man with a top hat just sort of lunging over its own dinner table to reach what we think is the children, but whether he's actually reaching out for the children, I don't know. But interestingly, in this scene, we know the table is set out for guests or someone who's going to come and grab a bite to eat. So who are they setting out for? Also, what you have to remember as well is on the far left, we actually see bodies that have been placed upright so they can enjoy the meal that they've been given to them. Now, are these people alive, or are they dead, or are they a similar circumstance? We don't know. We'll have to find out within the game. But of course, from what I can see, I would actually think they are dead. What's interesting though is the design of the character. It actually looks like it's got a really big smile, and I can't imagine what's lying underneath, but one of those smiles that go from ear to ear. And then after that we see what seems to be one of the friends or one of the sisters or the sister convulsing and sort of losing control while floating up, and it looks to be out of the control of any of the kids, and they just have to helplessly watch her sort of just float and do whatever happens to her. And then after that we see probably one of the most grotesque and monstrous things we'll ever see in Reanimal, and that is the big sheep merged with different parts of bodies, human, animals, you name it, it's got it, climbing up the walls of this house. And of course the children are trying to keep their best to stay away from it. Whether they do or not, we'll have to find out in game. And then the voice comes back over to the shot of a single boat in the water trying to either leave or enter back, and it's similar to how it started in the first place, saying, "I thought you were dead." Now, I think that's going to play an interesting story between the siblings and, of course, all the friends. And then, of course, we get hit with a title card, Reanimal. So, what did you think? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and theories about the game. I, of course, am going to go away and make all those now. Let me know if you'd like this breakdown. I'm trying to keep it more to the point this time around. I remember last time people thought I drew out the breakdown a little bit long. So, here we are. We're going to get straight to the point with this one. And so I have done. And so, let me know if you enjoyed it. Remember to hit subscribe if you like this kind of content and want to support myself and the channel going forward. And, of course, if you want to get updated on new Reanimal stuff, that's how we all do it. With that being said, have a lovely morning, day or night wherever you are. Stay safe. Do all the usual YouTubery stuff. Subscribe, like, do all that. All malarkey. I've repeated myself like 7 times now. I'm just so excited. But with that being said, have a lovely morning, day or night wherever you are in the world. Let me know what you liked about the breakdown. Let me know what you think I missed. Let me know what you found. And with that being said, have a lovely morning, day or night. See you all in the next theory video. Bye!